Yes, when Jericho said studio at the top, it can feel a bit like that in here sometimes, a bit like lights, camera, action, and off we go. So yeah, Jericho said my name is Mahamani, and I'm going to be talking this evening a little bit about the body and the breath and how we can work with the body to have a much more embodied meditation practice. But first of all, I just want to say a real huge thank you to Jayaka. Really, really enjoyed that. It took me back to some of the winter retreats where you would lead in the morning. It also makes me realise how awful I am at working out my left and right. Especially when I'm having to do two different things. I don't know if you were doing it at home, you were finding that, but I think that one was particularly, it plays with my mind. I was just looking in the chat box before as well, and I was noticing there's quite a lot of people who come into the morning meditation. I was doing the morning meditation, the regulars last week. So yeah, I just was recognising people's names like Anne and Debbie and Heloise. So I'm sure there's others as well, but I just wanted to kind of say hello to them. So yeah, if you were here last week, it doesn't really matter if you weren't. But Shantakara was, he launched his first 4 weeks of the breath and meditation, particularly obviously looking at the mindfulness of breathing, but just different aspects of it. So last week he was talking about energized calm, and he was particularly focusing on the first 2 stages of the mindfulness of breathing. So there's that sense, isn't there, that when perhaps we breathe in, when the body kind of breathes in, we're breathing in energy, we're breathing in life force, the chi that Jayaka was actually talking about. And then when we breathe out, there's that kind of letting go, that kind of calming release and letting go. And that helps to calm the body, calm the mind. So he was focusing particularly on energized calm. But obviously you can't get very far with that without talking about the body, can you? Because as soon as you get energised, you're breathing in. But it's the body that's breathing in, isn't it? It's just going through this whole process of breathing in and breathing out. We've been doing it from the moment we were born and took our first breath, and we'll do it until the moment we die and we take our last breath. So there's something incredibly embodied about that, and it's around our connection. Just thinking earlier today, it's that wonderful connection we have with the outside world, isn't it? This constant kind of breathing in the air from the outside world. I'm not going to dwell too much on the fact that we're breathing in each other's air and so forth, because that's perhaps not so helpful at the moment. But you know, we are just this constant connection with the outside world. This whole time we're breathing in. So I want to say a little bit about that, and I thought I'd start with a quote. There's a beautiful book that I have found really, really helpful in thinking about meditation and the body, and it's called The Body by Paramananda. Some of you might have come across it, and I just came across this wonderful quote this afternoon. I just thought, oh gosh, that just kind of says so much about what we're trying to do. So he's been talking about how we can use the breath and the body to kind of help to calm the mind and so forth. But his final paragraph in this is, the body and the breath provide the foundations for meditation. The body and the breath provide the foundations for meditation. Without these foundations, there will be no stability in our practice. Without this awareness, we are homeless. Without somewhere to return to, we wander aimlessly. But once we have cultivated a feeling sense of our bodies, we always have a home to come back to. Even though our minds still wander, they will find their way home. And I just thought that was absolutely beautiful. Really very poetic. I mean, Paramananda has a very poetic way of writing. But that without this awareness, we are homeless. We are homeless. And I was thinking around that, and I was thinking around a conversation I'd had. Oh gosh, it must have been about 7 years ago, when I'd probably been meditating for that time about 6 years, and I'd been on a 2-week solitary retreat on a tiny little island off the coast of Scotland. It was about 2 miles long and 1 mile wide, and there were more sheep than people there, and I certainly saw the sheep and counted them and didn't see any of the people for the 2 weeks. But on that retreat, so I'd been meditating probably for about 6 years at that time, something happened in my meditation. Maybe it was the kind of isolation, not really being around people, being surrounded by sea, so forth. But there was something I really it felt for the first time in my meditation practice, fully into my body. And I remember telling a very good friend about this when I got back, who'd been meditating for years, and she looked at me slightly puzzled. And she said, well, what else have you been doing for the last 6 years then? How have you been meditating? And I kind of thought, well, that's a good question. She said, if you're not meditating in the body, what are you doing? And I kind of realised that it wasn't that I was completely divorced from my body in meditation, but I wasn't embodied. And I think Jayaka used that word at the top of the class, and it's such a beautiful word. I think it encapsulates it. It was more that I had a kind of sense of, so the breath's kind of coming in here and it's going out there, but it was an idea. I was thinking about it. I was quite up in my head. But on this retreat, I just dropped. It felt like I dropped into my body. And it reminded me of something that a very good friend of mine, I'm going to steal something from a good friend of mine, Vimochini, who's a mindfulness teacher. And she was saying the other night, we live in community together, and we had community night. And we have a cat in our community. And the cat was circling Vimochini's lap. So she was kind of going round and round about, am I going to settle here? Am I going to sit down here? And then she kind of sat, and we looked at her. And Vimochini said, I often talk about this when I'm doing mindfulness teaching. There's something about a cat that circles around, and then they sit, and then they settle. And you can really feel that settling of a cat, can't you? Or maybe the dog. You can feel the weight of the body. You can feel like the cat's gone, I'm here. I'm here and I'm relaxed and I'm embodied. It was very interesting because at that point the cat got up and jumped off. But there you go. Clearly wasn't in a settled way. But I thought, oh God, that just encapsulates what we're trying to really do with our meditation, isn't it? When we're preparing to meditate. So Jayaka was just leading us some lovely qigong where I could start to feel the energy. I could start to just be a little bit more in my body as opposed to up in my head thinking about, what am I going to say next? And, have I got it in the right order? And all those things that can kind of go round before you kind of start teaching. Just felt myself kind of coming into my body, particularly for me down into my lower belly. That's where I can really start to feel grounded. And there is something like that, that settling of the cat. So this evening there's a bit of an invitation for you to kind of see if you can settle your body like a cat settles down in somebody's lap or on their favourite cushion or wherever it is they're choosing to actually sit. And this is so important for meditation. It's so fundamentally important for meditation because if we have that, I guess it's what Paramananda says about we come home to ourselves. We're not just kind of aimlessly wandering around. We're not homeless, but we're embodied. We're at home with ourselves. And if we can settle down into ourselves, then that really does help to calm the mind. It does help to calm the mind. And it's that knowledge that, my mind is going to wander off. It is going to go down those highways and planning and so forth. But I can just keep coming back to this place. I can just keep coming back to my body, to the breath. And it's there. It's my home. So I kind of almost see it as an anchor in a way. And I'm holding my stomach because I think for me, it really is my anchor, my lower belly, just that kind of sense of the breath in the lower belly even as I'm talking now, you can kind of just tune into it, can't you? You can just become aware of, oh, there it is. There it is. And for me, it just feels so comforting, so grounding, so relaxing. So that's really what I want to try and encourage this evening, is this sense of kind of coming home to the body. And I think that it's a foundation. The breath and the body are absolute foundation in meditation. And, you know, in our system of practice here that we teach, London Buddhist Centre as part of Triratna, those first 2 stages, which some of you might be aware of, the first one is integration. It's integration. It's like we're gathering up all these disparate parts of ourselves and kind of just bringing them all together so that there's more of us behind what we're trying to do, behind our meditation. And I think that energized calm, embodied energized calm, is the start of that. It's absolutely the basis of that. So that's really what I want us to try and kind of work towards this evening. Just having a look to see on a couple of notes I made to see if there's anything else. I guess what I would say is when we do this as well is that we start to experience the body in a direct way, not in the sense of an idea of the body or a part of the body even, like, oh, there's the hand, but we start to experience the whole of the body. And what we might notice when we have direct experience of the body, that some of that is maybe very pleasurable, might be very pleasurable experiences, that sense of warmth that might rise up when we just kind of relax and let go. But there might be also unpleasant sensations that are there. And what we're trying to do, if we're more embodied, if we've got this sense of calm and energy, is we're just opening up to those things. We're not trying to kind of push away the things we don't like and grab hold of the things that we do like, or just ignore the more neutral sensations in the body. We're just trying to be present to all of them, and just to see what happens. In a way. So, my invitation tonight really is to see if you can settle like a cat. Or if dogs are your favourite animal, then settle like a dog, because I think they can do it pretty much as well. So obviously part of being able to settle in meditation is good posture, isn't it? So what I would invite you to do, obviously we're not at a class, I can't come round and kind of correct your posture at all, but I would just kind of invite you to get into a meditation posture where you can be still, because that's going to help that calm. It's going to help you to come down into your body. So if you're sitting on cushions, or even a meditation stool, something that's kind of more meditative, I'll have the lights down in 2 minutes. People are signalling, trying to work out if I need the lights down. Then what I would just say is, just if you're sitting on cushions or a stool, just making sure that you feel stable, that there's a stability, so you haven't got too many cushions or too few cushions, but you're feeling comfortable, that your back is just following the natural curve of the spine, it's not too tilted one way or the other, and the hands are supported either with a scarf around your waist or maybe cushions in front of you. Likewise, if you're sitting on a chair or even a sofa, that's absolutely fine. But try to make sure that you're not just kind of slumping on the chair or slumping on the sofa, particularly at 7:30 at night. You'll be fast asleep soon. So making sure that you're using your back muscles to actually support your sitting up. That's probably all I'm going to say for now. So just getting into your meditation posture, and Jarrett's going to just turn the lights down. So wherever you are, I don't know, maybe you're turning your lights down. Maybe you've got a candle burning. We've got some lovely candles here in front of this beautiful shrine that we have. So we're going to do some body awareness to start with, and then we'll have a couple of minutes of just standing, and then we'll move it into mindfulness of breathing. So I'm going to guide us in the body awareness. So closing your eyes now. Maybe just starting by taking a few deep breaths right deep down into the body, into the lower belly, really elongating the in-breath and likewise with the out-breath. So maybe they're the same length, and then just allowing the breath to kind of rush up into the nostrils and mouth. Chest expanding, the tummy breathing out. One more. And then just letting the breath come back to its natural rhythm. We don't need to make any effort with the breath. The body will do all the work. So hopefully you're just a little bit more aware of the body breathing itself. A lovely natural rhythm of the breath. And the body is still and calm. Maybe there is a sense of the life force, the energy, as the body breathes in. Sense of letting go, relaxing on the out breath. And on the next in-breath, just bringing your awareness down through your throat, into your lungs, and carry on down into the lower belly. And right down into the lower belly. If it helps, maybe just putting your hands on the lower belly for a few in-breaths and out-breaths. Just to really connect with it. It's getting the measure of the breath in the lower belly. A lovely expansion, contraction as the body breathes in and out. If there's any tension in the lower belly, sometimes we carry tension there. It's that sense on the out breath of just letting go. Don't need to hold on. Expanding that awareness to the sides of our body, to our lower back. It's like we've got a 360-degree panoramic view from inside the belly. So the front, the sides, the lower back, the buttocks, the sitting bone, the whole pelvic bowl. coming home. Open to whatever's there. Trying to push anything away or grab hold of anything. And just beginning to expand your awareness down through your hips, into your thighs, the space above the knees, going deep inside. What can you feel? Maybe there is a sense of the energy, the life force of the body. Down through to the knees. Into the lower legs, maybe in contact with the ground. Beneath the ground, beneath the floor, there's the earth. Opening up to the earth. To move down into our feet, right down to the soles of our feet. What can you feel? There's a sense of tingling, of aliveness. The toes. So we're just opening up to the lower half of the body, from the toes all the way up through the feet, the legs, the sitting bones, the lower belly. This sense of just letting go, settling into the lower half of the body. The out-breath, just letting go of any holding on. Settling into the earth. Letting it support us. Just moving up through the rest of the torso, to the back and the front and the sides of the mid-torso with the diaphragm. Up into the chest. The lungs, the ribs, the heart. Taking in the shoulders and the shoulder blades and the back. Just opening up to the whole of the body. Begin to stretch that awareness down through our arms, down to the elbows, into the wrists, and into the hands. So many sensations in the hands. Seeing if we can open up to some of them. Each finger and thumb, the tops of the hands, the palms. And coming back up the arms, travelling back up into the shoulders, into the neck and the throat. Softening the muscles in the throat. And stretching our awareness to take in our head. So beginning with our face. Soft and relaxed, the jaw slack. Again, just as we breathe out, a sense of just letting go. Extending that to the whole of the head, so taking in our scalp, our hair, the crown of our head, reaching up towards the sky, spacious and open. So just stretching your awareness down through the whole of your body. The crown of your head. Your fingertips, the chest and the stomach, the hips, the sitting bones, down through the legs and the feet, just letting go of what can be let go of. Allowing our weight to be heavy. The body, the breath, the breathing body, foundation of our practice, providing stability. The body being our home. So it's fine if the mind wanders off. So each time we become aware, we just bring it back to the body. Patient, with kindness. No judgment involved. Let's just sit for a minute or two. At home. So in a moment I'm going to ring the bell to bring the practice to a close. But just seeing if you can stay within the body, your awareness resting within the body. We're just going to take a 2-minute pause, a break. So if you need to have a comfort break, then do so. Otherwise, I suggest you just stand with awareness of your body, the feet on the ground, on the earth beneath. Standing with stillness and dignity. So as you stand, just being aware of your connection with the earth, the body breathing, energy in the body, hopefully a little bit more relaxed, calm, alive. There's this balance between this aliveness and calmness. And then when you're ready, sitting back down again in your meditation posture. Preparing for, there is a period of mindfulness of breathing, but we're just going to do the first 3 stages. We won't do the last stage this week. I'll just drop in some words as we go along. But just the key thing is just every time you find your mind wandering, just coming back to the body. Just coming back to the body with a sense of patience and kindness without judgment. There's no judgment to be made at all. I'm going to read that quote that I started with at the beginning from Paramananda. The body and the breath provide the foundations for meditation. Without these foundations, there will be no stability in our practice. Without this awareness, we are homeless. Without somewhere to return to, we wander aimlessly. But once we have cultivated a feeling sense of our bodies, we always have a home to come back to. Even though our minds still wander, they will find their way home. They will find their way home. So, if you haven't already, just closing your eyes again. And settling back into the body. Let the body, the breathing body, be the foundation of our practice. Let it be the stability, the core of our practice. Mindfulness of breathing in 3 stages. So in this stage, when we're perhaps focusing more or bringing a bit of greater awareness on the in-breath, I have that sense of breathing in energy, breathing in the life force. Really opening up to what that feels like within the body. The lungs, the tummy, the back of the body, the sides. So as we move into the second stage, let's place a little bit more emphasis on the out breath. With the out breath, there's that sense of a letting go, a calming, a relaxing of the body and the mind. Maybe you can feel that sense of letting go right the way through the body. coming into the third, the final stage for this evening, the mindfulness of breathing. Just inviting you to be with the whole of the breath that comes into the body drawing in the air and then letting it out again, releasing it, letting go. Continual process. Really opening up to the body breathing itself. Knowing that if the mind wanders, as it will, as it's its wont, we have a home to come back to. The body, the breath. So we're moving into the last couple of minutes of practice together. Just letting go of any effort you'd be making to bring your awareness to the breath in the body. Just broadening your awareness out, to take in the whole of the body, its connection with the earth, the sky above. We just sit for a couple of minutes. We're not trying to do anything. We're not trying to not do anything. Just see you can sit here with a sense of the body, the space around you. Aware of how you're feeling as a result of doing the practice. Just taking your time to come out of your meditation, opening your eyes, stretching the body, having a little yawn, and coming out of your meditation posture. We've got a little bit of time left. So, Jack, are you going to come and join me? Jack is going to come and join me. And, if you've got any questions or comments or points around the practice, around any of it, the body awareness, the Qigong at the beginning, body awareness, and then the mindfulness of breathing leading on from that, then do put them in. Jack has just been we are socially distanced, it's okay. Then do put them in the chat box, and I think it helps Jenny and Jalad if you just put a cue next to the questions and they can see them a little bit more clearly. But I don't know if anything's coming in yet, or one thing I was thinking of, I don't know about you, Jarika, but I was just reflecting earlier on around how when I first started to meditate, unless I came to a class, if I was meditating at home on my own, I very rarely did body awareness. It was almost like I just kind of went straight into the meditation. And I had to really learn how to do that for myself. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think I had that as well. I think for me there's trying to think of why that is. I think for me it's something that that wasn't the real meditation or something like that. So I kind of compartmentalise my meditation practice into those two things, and it's almost like I just wanted to get stuck into the meditation. But obviously that wasn't the right approach.
No.
Yeah. Even now, I still sometimes, if I've got limited time, I think I still rush it a bit, And actually, I could probably spend the whole meditation just doing some body awareness.
I think that I've kind of almost gone the other way now, that if I've only got a short period of time. But yeah, there was something almost about I couldn't lead the body awareness for myself. I don't know, maybe people can put, comment on whether they do it in the chat. Would be interesting to know. It was almost like that was externalised, and then now this is the real meditation. But I've had to really learn to kind of do that for myself, and maybe that's all I do if I have just a short period of time, if I'm a bit rushed in the morning. Don't know, is that kind of registering with anybody? Is anybody still there?
I think also for me it was probably getting too attached to the form. And I think the form of the practice can get in the way, really. So I must do this stage and I must do that stage, and so be holding on to that too tightly and not allowing some creativity, I guess, and allowing other things to arise, which is partly what the body scan does, that, doesn't it? Because you don't know where it goes, really. But you were saying that you had a sudden bit of a realisation when you was away on solitary retreat.
When I was away on solitary, I think it was suddenly there was something so embodied in my experience. It was almost like I couldn't not be in my body, and it was just like, oh, that's what it is. That's what it is. I wonder if people want to put in the chat box whether they do morning, if they're meditating on their own, do they do body awareness? How embodied is their meditation?
I think also for me it's such an enjoyable experience to be embodied, and it's really, really simple, and sometimes I forget the simplicity of it. Again, it's probably partly having a complicated, I can only speak for myself, having like a complicated mind, with all the stimulus that I have every day. I forget how simple it is, and that when I do discover that embodiment, I just feel really relaxed and really good, and it's almost like my well-being is very much dependent on that. If I could just be embodied, then I feel relaxed and I feel good, and then I can manage the ups and downs of life a lot more easily.
I definitely would agree with you there, that there's something around, it's almost when I'm not, there's a slight, I don't know, a lack of stability, a lack of a kind of dis-ease, that I can almost feel that I'm a bit too much up in my head almost. But when I have kind of taken that time, whether through doing some exercise as well, I just feel completely different. Then when I'm walking down the road, I can feel my feet. I can feel my feet on the ground, as opposed to kind of just being up in my head the whole time. Yeah.
What about the metta bhavana, do you think, in relationship to body awareness? I don't know if you're going to say anything about that, but it just comes to mind.
I think for me, the metta bhavana, I've always found the mindfulness of breathing easier to do than the metta bhavana. I've had to really work with that, even though it's had some incredibly positive effects. But I think that for me, I have to really kind of come into my heart areas. I have a real sense of being in my heart and breathing into it and breathing in kind of bright light, and creating a space. So it does become very embodied. And I think, it has to be because our emotions are in our bodies, aren't they? We might express them in thoughts or words and so forth. but the kind of deep emotions are so very much in our bodies that, Jenny's signalling to me something.
Yeah, we've got a couple of comments. Rachel says, thank you for the practice. She notices changes in her home, i.e. her body, and she dislikes them so much that she leaves her body and goes into her head as a form of, I guess, moving away from that discomfort.
That's, oh gosh, I've just spilt water all over me in a very clumsy way. Okay, so could you just read that again, Jenny, that Rachel dislikes the feeling?
She's obviously doing her body scan, but she's noticing changes that she doesn't like in her body, and her response to that is to go into her head.
What I would say is, if we're not used to actually really feeling that sense of embodiment, there can be stuff that comes up that can feel quite uncomfortable, and there is a tendency then, I think, to go, just go out of that. And I can certainly remember that when I was in the first few years of my meditation, just feeling that sense of discomfort. And I just had to, if you can just work with it very slowly. And I think the thing is, if we're feeling that, we probably need to feel it. And what we tend to do is put up a resistance. And then it actually increases the power of things. If we could just gently open up. So maybe just when that discomfort and the urge to kind of, let's be up in my mind comes, if we could just be just a little bit more down, stay there for just a little bit longer and just open up. Lots of metta, we're just talking about metta, lots of kindness. But it kind of requires, kind of gentle persistence and working with it. It's not going to happen overnight. I don't know if you would add anything to that, Jayaka.
Yeah, I was thinking that we can have certain associations with the body. We've got a relationship with our own body, and some of us like our bodies, some of us don't like our bodies, and there can be a lot of strong sexual feelings in the body. Sometimes people are not comfortable with those. Some of us have had violent experiences, and so when we start to feel the body again, because I think it's a known thing, isn't it, that sometimes when people experience violence, they kind of disassociate from the body. So when you start coming in contact with the body again, I'm not saying this is for you, the case for you, but so you might sort of start to re-experience things, and all you can do really is just acknowledge that and just be patient and careful and delicate and sensitive, and just reinforce all the things that you just said about being kind and patient and aware. So there can be a big split between the mind and the body, and meditation starts to bring those two things back together. So that's important. Yeah.
In some ways, that's the whole of what we're trying to do, isn't it? That there's such a big gap, and that rush up to the body, up to the mind. So So thank you for asking that, Rachel. I hope that was a little bit helpful. Anything else, Jenny?
Yeah, we've got a comment about the qigong and how it helped Heloise to go deeper into her meditation. Definitely a good antidote to being up in the head all the time. Similarly, Ashish, I think you pronounce it, find it a lot with the body scan. Having done the body scan, they're finding it a lot easier to return to breathing and the body awareness from when they go into straight thoughts.
I think both those. I mean, I certainly felt just doing that 15 minutes of qigong, which I was very grateful for, really helped to settle me, and I felt much, much more embodied. When I sat down, I could feel it. So I mean, sometimes just 10 minutes of swinging your arms in the morning can be really kind of quite revolutionary. And likewise, the body awareness as well. It's just helping you to remember, isn't it? Oh yeah, this is where I'm meditating. This is where I'm meditating. And just that, it helps that if our bodies are calm and still, then actually that really does have an effect on our mind after a while. And as Jaika was saying, it closes that gap that we have. So there's less of a distinction between the mind and the body. Probably coming up to. Do you want to just say what's happening next week, or?
Yeah, I can do.
Yeah.
So we're finished there. Yeah. So thanks very much. Thanks very much to Jake and Jenny again.
Yes.
Running the tech behind the camera there, and Mahamani for leading us through the meditation and really helping us explore the body. Really appreciated.
Thank you for
That's right. I appreciate coming along to the class myself. So it's really good for me as well. I'm sure it's good for you. So next week we'll continue the exploration in meditation. So Stiramanas will be here, and he will be exploring meditation in the mind. Is that right?
The breath and the mind.
The breath and the mind. So he's a really bright chap. I think you'll enjoy what he's got to say. So do come along. So we'll be here again at 7 o'clock next Tuesday. And just before I go, I was saying that last week that we were doing an in-person class, and a lot of us have really missed that, and we know everybody have missed that, and obviously we're locked down again, and we will continue to do these kind of sessions. On Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evening, we will be broadcasting live here from the LBC, and you're all welcome. You're always welcome to join us here. We really do want your company. We really want to stay connected with you all out there. And one of the things that we're finding difficult at the moment is, we're running the centre. We have got some finances to keep the centre running, but we do need help, and we are asking for donations. So if you do really like what we're doing at the centre and you appreciate what we're doing, please do feel free to give a donation. Any small donation is helpful, any large donation is helpful, but we'd really appreciate if you could do that, because that will keep us running through this period and into the future. We've been teaching meditation for about 40 years, I think, or so, in East London, and we really want to carry on doing that. And there's a lot of energy for us to do that, but we do need money to be able to do that. So I think Jenny's going to post a link now in the chat box, so do click on that link so that we can keep the centre running. So I think that's all we've got for this evening. So thanks very much again, Mahamani, and thanks to the tech team again, and hopefully we'll see you again next week.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
thank you. Good night.
Yay!
That's good.